It is Thursday, March 7th, 2024, and I have got one college basketball spread. I've got one conference tournament spread, and I've also got one player prop in the NBA. Let's dive into it. This is the Free Three. What's up, guys? It's your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we just try to get to the bag together and make some money. Last night, 3-1 day. So close to a sweep. I'll take a winning day though. 3-1, you can't be mad on it. We cashed on Steph Curry points. There was a little bit of a sweat there at the end, but he got us over. We cashed on Richmond spread as well. No sweat bet there. And then we also cashed on the Houston and Tennessee money line parlay. We got that done. We only loss we had on the day was the Clippers and Rockets under, and that game was trending under for about 3.5 quarters. And then a late night, the Clippers late in the game, the Clippers rebounded. They came back and on a fury, so a lot of points were scored there at the end. That kind of killed the under there, but 3-1 of the day, can't be mad at it. 10-13-1 now for the month of March. Not too bad, as we still got a whole month ahead of us with a bunch of conference tournaments games, college basketball. You can see our college basketball record right here, so hopefully we can keep that momentum going. And as we dive into conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament as well, more winners are on the way. If you want all those picks, make sure you smash that subscribe button and that like button as well, so this way we can continue to crush the books together. Now let's dive into these best bets. For my first best bet of the day, we are going to go to a college basketball slate, and like I've been doing over the last few weeks or so, I've really been handicapping games where the situation is in favor of one team or the next, so they really have to win this game. And we have a similar matchup today as we've got the UAB Blazers taking on the Temple Owls. Now, UAB is on the road in this matchup, but they are favored as a road team, and I got to rock with them today. -1.5 or on the money line, -120 odds or -135. You can take either or, but I am paying for the juice here. The line was about -2, -2.5 on certain books, so make sure you shop around, but I am paying for that hook, and I am paying to get underneath one basket in this matchup. Why? Because this team is on the road. I think it'll be a close game. KenPom has this as a 1-point win for UAB, but I do think they can cover the 2.5 number that we're seeing here. Like I mentioned, this is a situational matchup, so let me break down what we're looking at here in the American standings. So right now, we've got South Florida, who secured the #1 seed in the tournament. No sweat for South Florida as they're able to cruise to a 16-1 record in conference, so they've locked up the #1 seed. But now this is where things start getting a little crazy. The #2 seed, Florida Atlantic. They're 3 games behind South Florida, 13-4 in the conference. They haven't locked up the #2 seed just yet. And then we look at the #3 seed, we've got Charlotte at 12-5 in conference. Then at the 4, 5, and 6 seed, this is where stuff starts getting real crazy. Charlotte, 12-5, like I mentioned, the 3 seed. Memphis, 4 seed right now at 11-6. SMU, 5th right now at 11-6 in conference. And then UAB, 10-6 in conference right now. But they have a game in hand. So to put this in perspective for you guys, the top 4 teams in the American Conference get a double bye. That's what you want. You want to be in the top 4 seeds, so this way you don't have to play an extra game. Well, guess what? Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, South Florida, kind of the top 3 teams right now. But Memphis, SMU, on UAB, all 3 of those teams are fighting for the #4 seed. But UAB has a game in hand in comparison to Memphis and SMU, who are both 11-6 in conference, and then UAB is now 10-6 in conference. Following their meltdown against Memphis in their last game, where they were up in that game by over 20 points, and they end up losing that game and also not covering, I think this is a matchup here for UAB to be able to rebound against a Temple Owl team that's just really dismal on the year. Temple is 11-18 on the year, and they're 4-12 in conference, and they've won 3 of their last 4 games, dropping their last matchup against Tulsa. But this is the thing about Temple. Earlier in the season in conference play, they went through a streak where they lost 9 straight games in a row. Now, granted, some of those losses were tough. The overtime losses to East Carolina, overtime loss in Tulane in back-to-back games. They played Charlotte to a tough game, only losing that game by 3. They played South Florida tough as well, only losing that game by 6. But a loss is a loss is a loss. They were able to win up a few games in the month of February over the last few weeks, but when you look at the rate of opponents that they beat, UTSA, bottom of the standings. Wichita State, bottom of the standings. Rice, bottom of the standings. So their only 3 wins that they've gotten in the last 4 games have come against the teams that are at the bottom of the standings. But anytime they stepped up in class this year in the American Conference, they've lost. Even Tulsa is not even that good of a team. And guess what? They lost to them in their last matchup at home, 72-67. So now we've got UAB, who's dropped back-to-back games. The one loss against Memphis, and they also lost against Wichita State, which is a terrible loss. And they also dropped 2 games before that against Rice. So they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. They're not in the best of form, and I get that, but now you have to kind of wipe the slate clean and say, listen, what are we going to do? And I think for Andy Kennedy and his team, this is where their playoffs are really starting, because if they win out, they really have a very legitimate chance of locking up that 4 seed, because this is the thing. They got Temple and they've got SMU next. So they win today against Temple. Now they have a matchup against SMU. That game is at home, and that game can determine who gets the number 4 seed. But let's look at who else has something to play for. So SMU, they only have 1 game left in their conference, and that game is against UAB. So again, that game is probably going to be for all the marbles for who's going to take home the 4 seed, because Memphis also has 1 game left. Guess who it's against? It's against FAU. That's going to be no walk in the park for this Memphis team, and FAU is still going to be trying to lock up that number 2 seed. So for me, the way I look at the standings right now, it's UAB's not conference to lose, but for them to get the 4 seed, it's really in their hands for them not to fumble this. And if they lose tonight, they're going to fumble that opportunity. So I like the fact that UAB has a lot to play for in this matchup. They have a very strong offense. We saw that against Memphis, where they dropped 87 points on them. They're ranked number 23 in offensive rebound percentage. It also is free throws attempted. So that means they get to the line, they get second chance opportunities. So I really like that against a Temple team that has struggled defensively throughout the year. They don't cause a lot of turnovers. They don't block a lot of shots. This is the thing about this Temple team, that's not really their defense is the problem. It's their offense that's the problem. Right? 347th in effective field goal percentage, which is bottom 20 in all of college basketball. They're ranked in the bottom 50 in all of college basketball, both 3-point percentage and 2-point percentage. So against a UAB team that really struggles defensively, that's why they lost to Memphis. But Memphis has a good enough offense to keep up with UAB. Temple does not have a good enough offense to keep up with the UAB team. That's probably going to push the pace. That's probably going to draw a lot of fouls and also get second chance opportunities. So because of what's at stake in this matchup, we're going to go with UAB. Like I said, I'm paying for a little extra juice here. So take them on the -1.5. Take them on the money line. They got to pick up a win here to be able to stay in tempo for that number 4 seed in the conference. I think they have what it takes against a very weak Temple team. So give me UAB on the money line or on the spread here for our first best bet of the day. Now, second best bet of the day, we're going to go to another college basketball slate, and we're going to go to the Horizon League, as we've got the Oakland Bears taking on Purdue, as we've got Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne here in the Horizon League quarterfinals. And I'm going to go with Oakland, -2.5, -120 odds. This is also another play here that I am paying for the juice. It might be -3. It might as be -3.5 in your book. Not mad at that, but I'm going to pay for the juice to take this down to 2.5, as that's where the line has been moving. And this is Oakland's conference to lose. They finished off the regular season as the number 1 seed in the Horizon League. 15-5 in conference this year, and they're truthfully the best team in the conference. They shoot the ball well from 3-point line. They shoot the ball well from the 2-point line. They also hit their free throws as well. So you love to see that. For a team like in the Horizon League to be ranked 128th in offensive efficiency, 110 in 3-point percentage, 122 in 2-point percentage, those are pretty good numbers for kind of a lower level mid-major team. Now they take on a Purdue Fort Wayne team that's pretty good defensively, but they like to play fast. And because they like to play fast, what does that do for them? It kind of leaves them susceptible to certain errors, to certain turnovers, but they do a good job of protecting the basketball, which you like to see. They shoot the ball well from the 3-point range and the 2-point range as well. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. But for me, I'm going to have to go with Oakland in this matchup, because in the Horizon League, guess what? The higher seed gets the home court advantage. So this is going to be a true home game for Oakland in this matchup, which I think matters here. These two teams split the regular season series, but when Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne beat Oakland at Oakland, that game was all the way back on December the 2nd. They won that game pretty easily, 98-77, but Oakland got their revenge at Purdue Fort Wayne's place just earlier this month, winning that game 71-63. So the way that I kind of look at this is that the team that Purdue Fort Wayne played in Oakland back on December the 2nd, we've had 2 whole months to completely change that. Now we've got a Oakland team that beat Purdue Fort Wayne earlier this month, and I feel like that is kind of the more advantage that Oakland has in this matchup. And not to also mention that this game was at home for them And Purdue Fort Wayne played yesterday against Robert Morris. Now, that is one of the reasons why I'm telling you to buy the hook to underneath the basket, because I do think it's going to be a close game. I'm not a big fan when a team has played a game already in the conference tournament. That means you kind of got your whistle wet. You've been able to get shots up. You've been able to get into a rhythm. But for me, I think that this Oakland team is just too good. They're at home. It is their conference to lose, especially as the number 1 seed. So for me, I'm not overthinking it. Let's just go with Oakland on the spread. -2.5 is our second best bet. Now, our third and final best bet of the day, we are going to head over to the association here, and I'm going to go with a player prop, and I'm going to go with Dennis Schroeder over 6.5 assists, -110 odds. Now, this is just a situational play here, as the Nets are dealing with a ton of injuries, especially in the point guard position. Ben Simmons just doesn't seem to want to play basketball. He's hurt every single day with some type of new injury, so fuck him. And then we got Cam Thomas, who's also out with an injury as well. So guess what that means? Dennis Schroeder is the main primary ball handler for this Nets squad. In the last 4 games, he's gotten 7 or more assists, and he's averaging 14.5 potential assist opportunities over that 4-game span. I love to see that. Now, also keep in mind that because of the injuries that the Nets are dealing with Cam Thomas, with Ben Simmons, and also Cam Johnson, this has allowed Schroeder to play significant minutes. He's played 34 or more minutes over the last 3 games, and because of that, again, that means it's a lot of opportunity for Schroeder to have the ball in his hand and also to dive and make plays. So because he's gone over this total of 4 straight games, I like that fact. And then also he's played the Pistons twice this year, but this is when he was a member of the Raptors. But guess what? Went over this total in both of the times he played the Pistons this year. 7 assists in 26 minutes in the first time he played, 9 assists in 37 minutes the second time he played them. Because of this fact, I think Schroeder should be able to get the minutes today. He should be able to get the touches today. He should be able to get the ball in his hand. He's averaging 8 assists per game over the last several games. For me, I'm going to go with Dennis Schroeder, not overthinking it, against a Pistons team that's very beatable for this Nets squad. So give me Dennis Schroeder over 6.5 assists as our third and final best bet of the day. Well, that's it for me today, my friends. 3 best bets, 3 winners that are headed your way. 2 in college basketball, 1 in the NBA. Give me Dennis Schroeder over 6.5 assists. Give me Oakland -2.5. And then also give me UAB -1.5 or on the money line as our 3 best bets of the day. For more picks and plays and other winners that I'm dropping throughout the day, make sure you click the link in the description. Join the free Discord group. Can't wait to see you as we continue to cash in on bets together. When you join that Discord group, introduce yourself and share a play. There's a lot of people in there who aren't sharing winners. And guess what? We are cashing in every single day. I literally shared a parlay yesterday plus 400. I turned $100 into $500 off of 1 ticket, and that is what you can get inside of the Discord group. So make sure you smash that button and make sure you continue to cash in on these winners. As always, dictate your fate. Let's get to that cheddar, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Later, gang.